I'd like to welcome you to this special meeting of the Water Pollution Control Authority and the regular Town Council meeting of North Branford. It is Tuesday, December 9th at 6:32. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Angeloni.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McMillan.
Present.
Counselor Diamond.
Here.
Counselor Gold.
Here.
Counselor Mace.
Here.
Counselor Miller.
Here.
Counselor Felicia.
Here.
Counselor Whitworth.
Here.
And Counselor Zampano.
Here.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 18th WPCA and Town Council meeting? So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. On to the WPCA agenda. Correspondence regarding the WPCA, there's none. Unfinished business, none listed. New business, none listed. And citizen statements and petitions regarding WPCA. Okay, nothing there. So we will go on to the regular town council meeting. Tonight, we are very pleased to have, I believe we have the football C division here first tonight, right? Okay. So we would like to recognize, and I'm going to read a little citation and then I'm going to ask the team to come up and we will present this to you. But the Town of North Branford citation to the North Branford Youth Football C Division. Whereas the North Branford Youth Football C Division football has demonstrated remarkable dedication, resilience, and sportsmanship, qualities that reflect not only their talent on the field, but also their character off of it. And whereas their commitment to teamwork, consistent effort in practice, and unwavering determination in competition have set a powerful example for their peers and inspired everyone who has watched their journey. And whereas this team has shown what can be achieved when young athletes believe in one another and play with passion and purpose. And whereas their achievements are a testament to the support of devoted coaches, families, and mentors who have guided them every step of the way. Then be it therefore resolved that the Town Council of the Town of North Branford hereby congratulates the North Branford Youth Football C Division team on their first ever title and celebrates not only their victory, but also the hard work, discipline, and growth that made their victory possible. Dated this 9th day of December 2025 and authorized by my signature, Mayor Rose Angeloni. And on behalf of the team, you want to come up? Coaches, are coaches here? Yeah. Okay.
Coach. For you, sir. Congrats, Coach. Congrats,
The trophies in the back.
Get the trophy.
That's yours. All right. Yeah, you're in teammates.
Good stuff, guys. Good job.
also I see Coach Salvati's in the back here. Coach Salvati is the high school football coach. Remarkable season this year, 9-1, made it to the state playoffs. Congratulations to you and to the Thunderbirds. I know it didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted, year 3, but year 3 making it to state playoffs. Congratulations to you and your team, remarkable. So thank you.
Yeah, hope.
So boys, I know as excited as you are to be here, you don't necessarily have to stay here. If you would like to leave at this point in time with your parents, you are more than welcome to, because we do have Team B coming in after you and Team A after that, and unfortunately, we don't have room to have all of you at one time. So it's up to you. If someone will stay, you can, but you are more than welcome.
Congratulations, guys. Great.
Well, they're on YouTube.
I know, but isn't that great? And they're having such a good time.
Right, yes.
They're just saying those were great.
This. We haven't seen this since being it seems so long ago.
I'm playing for these teams, man. That was a lot of fun. Jim, think we should still play? I think one down.
First 4 years.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is community events and presentations. And we are honoring tonight years of service to the town employee who just recently retired with a presentation. And this is for John Calamita, who retired from Public Works. Unfortunately, John could not be with us tonight. I will recognize him publicly tonight with the plaque. I've talked to his wife. I am going to retain the plaque, and when he is feeling up to it, I will bring it to him and present it to him at his home.
That's very nice.
So, the town of North Branford, recognition of retirement to John Calamita from September 16th, 1997 to 11/7/2025. The town extends thanks to you for your 28 years of dedicated service on the occasion of your retirement. Please accept our appreciation for your countless contributions and commitment to service on behalf of the citizens of North Branford over your distinguished tenure. So thank you, John, for your 28 years of service, and we wish you the best. So we are just going to continue on, and when the next group of, the next team comes in to be recognized, we'll just kind of stop and do that and then just continue on. So we're on to reports of committees, boards, and commissions. First one is economic development.
Yeah, the economic development met last night, and in attendance was Matt Fleming, who will eventually be joining the commission. And he had a lot of good insight on things, worked out pretty well. I think that's a good selection, having him aboard. And also they have plans for the restaurant of the month, that's gonna be upcoming in February.
Okay. So is it like restaurant, like they did last year?
Yes.
Restaurant week?
Yeah.
Well, they do it
they're
for the
thinking
month.
about doing some type of other expansion a little bit, but that's still in discussion. Eventually it'll come out with it.
Okay, great. Okay, Park and Recreation has not met due to lack of quorum, and they were supposed to meet tonight, but canceled their meeting due to lack of quorum and a conflict with the town council. So they are looking to schedule it for next week. Police commission?
The police commission canceled this month's meeting.
Okay. Fire commission?
So Counselor Miller and I attended the last meeting on December 4th until the mayor appoints somebody officially to that position, but being that Bruce is no longer here, we decided that we would go and attend. Took place on December 4th. Some of the things discussed was engine one was out of service, and the spare engine once again came in handy for the department. I know sometimes we wonder why we have that extra engine, but it was definitely useful recently. And of course, we do have the new engine on order, so it'll be a couple of years before that gets here, but just wanted to fill in everybody and let them know that that extra engine is coming in handy. The next thing discussed was ambulance 42 is basically taken out of service, and they're gonna retire it. There's repairs needed on it that it just doesn't make sense to repair that ambulance. The department is looking into options that they may have in replacing that ambulance as a backup. There was some talk about some used ones being available, and we're waiting to get the details on that. They approved 3 retirees for pension, which was Michael Garcia, John Carafino, and Stephen Koplik, who was honored posthumously. And we'd like to thank all of them for their service. And I think one of them had over 30-something years of service, which is just amazing. So we thank them for that. There were 2 deputy chiefs appointed. One was Tom Hart, Deputy Chief of Training, and also John McFarland, Deputy Chief of the EMS, or Company 4. So I'd like to congratulate them on their appointments. And I briefly had a conversation with John McFarland and asked him how you guys remember a few years ago, we gave the volunteers stipends to volunteer on the ambulance because we were having a hard time getting those positions filled. And we were having to pay an outside company to fill those positions. From what he has told me, it's been an overwhelming success. Right now, 70%, or initially 70% of the time slots or whatever, shifts, I'm sorry, were being covered by the outside agency. We're down to about 5% of the outside agency covering those shifts. So the stipend has definitely been a good incentive. I asked him to do a cost analysis on that to see actually what that has saved the town, and he said that's one of the things that's on his plate and he wants to do to present that to us. So he's gonna, once he gets that, we can have him back and present that to us so that we can see the cost savings on that, okay? The last thing is they're doing their Santa rides with the fire apparatus, and just want to make an announcement to everybody. Company 1 is going to do it on December 13th. If you go on their website or on Facebook page, they actually listed a route recently with all the streets that they're going to hit in the order that they're going to hit them. And then Company 2 and 3 both do it on Christmas Eve as well. So you can be on the lookout on Christmas Eve for both Company 2 and Company 3's fire trucks with Santa. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it looks like Team B is here. The room filled up quite nicely. So we have a citation that I would like to read, and then we're gonna ask the boys to come forward along with the coaches to present to you. So on behalf of the town council for the town of North Branford, I'd like to read the following citation. This is to the North Branford Youth Football B Division. Whereas the North Branford Youth Football B Division football has demonstrated remarkable dedication, resilience, and sportsmanship, qualities that reflect not only their talent on the field, but also their character off of it. And whereas their commitment to teamwork, consistent effort in practice, and unwavering determination in competition has set a powerful example for their peers and inspired everyone who has watched their journey. And whereas this team has shown what can be achieved when young athletes believe in one another and play with passion and purpose. And whereas their achievements are a testament to the support of devoted coaches, families, and mentors who have guided them every step of the way. Then be it therefore resolved that the Town Council of the Town of North Branford hereby congratulates the North Branford Youth Football B Division on their third win in 2 years and celebrates not only their victory, but also the hard work, discipline, and growth that made their victory possible. Dated this 9th day of September 2025 and authorized by my signature, Rose Angeloni, Mayor. Boys, do you want to come up? And coaches?
Got a lineman coming up. Job, coach. Job, coach. Congratulations. Good job.
There you go.
Job, coach.
Okay. You can have more parents come up to the front after the first group goes. I don't know.
Oh, crack.
Come on up.
Full of it, man. You're really more than I am.
All right. Congratulations.
Good job, boys. Good job, guys.
Congratulations.
Let's bring it in, MB on three. 1, 2, 3.
Nice trophy. Big trophy. Yeah, man, that's a nice trophy.
It used to be this big.
I was gonna say, I remember, they used to be small.
So you are more than welcome to stay for the meeting, but I know you probably have much better things to do, and you're more than welcome to leave at this time. If any of you want to stay for the A team coming, you're more than welcome to do that too.
That's what
That's what I'm saying. It's different.
Times 18.
In 2 years.
7. Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
2 years. 6, 7, 6. Some fifth, sixth.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 or 5. Yeah, it's 4 or 5, yeah. Okay, we will wait, there's one more group coming in, but we'll just continue on until, well, maybe they're all
Here,
here.
filing in, there we are.
Or we'll just get a few more committee reports in here. Planning and Zoning Commission?
They're meeting Thursday.
Thursday, okay. Finance Subcommittee, the meeting would have been tonight, but since we had council, any agenda items for finance are on our agenda for tonight. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee?
Public Safety Communications Subcommittee will meet on January 14th, and we need a lot of people in attendance because we have to make some decisions on whether we're gonna pay some bills to Motorola.
Oh, okay. What day? January?
January 14th.
And where's that meeting? Usually.
I'm sorry, at the police station and a conference room
At what time?
at 5 o'clock.
You sent out an email reminder on us.
Okay. Inland Wetlands?
Okay, Inland Wetlands met last week. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend, but thanks to Kathleen, I have some information. The first application was for 90 Ciro Road. They want to add a fourth building, but in order to do that, they have to check the septic and the stone wall that they want to put near the inland wetlands. So there is a sidewalk this Saturday on December 13th at 9:30 a.m. The second application was from Al Rose for 40 Valley Road. Request to approve maintenance of an existing pond in order to include drainage of the pond and to remove organic sediment from the pond, and that was approved.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Blueprint Committee.
Blueprint met and we invited Rory to discuss his draft proposal of the, how monies can be spent from the town properties that are sold. And we also talked about Parks and Rec and different fields and where they are and what the activities are on them, and everything's, in discussion.
Okay,
Yeah. And there'll be no meeting for December.
okay. All right. Okay. A-team here, is everyone here for A-team? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead with, so we have, the town council would like to recognize our youth football A division team. So I have a citation that I will read here. On behalf of the town council, this is a citation for the North Branford Youth Football A Division. Whereas the North Branford Youth Football A Division football has demonstrated remarkable dedication, resilience, and sportsmanship, qualities that reflect not only their talent on the field, but also their character off of it. And whereas their commitment to teamwork, consistent effort in practice, and unwavering determination in competition have set a powerful example for their peers and inspired everyone who has watched their journey. And whereas this team has shown what can be achieved when young athletes believe in one another and play with passion and purpose. And whereas their achievements are a testament to the support of devoted coaches, families, and mentors who have guided them every step of the way, then be it therefore resolved that the town council of the town of North Branford hereby congratulates the North Branford Youth Football A Division team on their third consecutive title and celebrates not only their victory, but also the hard work, discipline, and growth that made their victory possible. Dated this 9th day of December 2025 and authorized by my signature, Rose Angeloni, Mayor. Boys, you want to come up and coaches?
Good job, guys.
So are you all eighth graders, or are there some seventh? Yep. So the eighth graders going on, are you planning on playing football next year for Southern Valley? Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah? That's a good, yeah.
Congrats, buddy. Congratulations.
Okay. Okay, if any parents want to come up front, take pictures, you're more than welcome to come up.
You guys ready?
Yes. I think some parents are still keeping. Sorry. I- You're dressed like you're ready to dog on the field.
Thank you.
Okay,
Danny's tired. Nice job.
all right. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's
Big boys.
yes.
Got a good.
Got some full-size kids on
Yeah, man. Freshman picture. Receivers in that. Big boy.
What are the grades on the first group, the C group? What grade are those guys
You
on?
figure first ones were probably
Fourth,
third,
fifth.
fourth, and fifth.
Yeah.
And these are like fifth, sixth, and seventh, and then the 17th, or this team.
Yeah.
They blend, it's all in on week.
I will tell you, that. So I went to the first playoff game last week. North Branford played Sheehan, and you thought we had some big boys on the line. They really had some big boys on the line. So it didn't come out the way North Branford wanted to, but you know they made playoffs, first round of playoffs, and they had a record of 9-1. So they had a great season. So Coach Salvati has some good kids coming up in the next. Out of this group here, these eighth graders.
Mayor, can I just add a little bit to that?
Sure.
So, you know, the North Branford football team, I typed up something, so just let you know. Football team had a playoff game and having a better record earned a home field advantage to play at home. You know, of course, it didn't go the way we wanted. The North Branford High School football team earned home field advantage for their playoff game based on a superior regular season record. Despite this, the opposing team, accustomed to playing on turf, made several attempts to have the game relocated to a turf facility. Their concerns were escalated to the CIAC, prompting a site visit from CIC officials. After inspecting the North Branford High School field, the official stated that it was the best field I have been across the state and rejected the opponent's request. A second attempt on the day of the game to move the game made during the match, before the matchup. Once again, the CIC official visited the field, reaffirmed his decision, noting that while he had recently seen another impressive facility, the North Branford High School field remained best in the state. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Coach Salvati for standing firm and preserving our well-earned home field advantage. I also want to extend my thanks to Fran Marilla and Dan Saltano and the entire Department of Public Works team for their year-round commitment to maintaining all our town fields, especially the North Branford High School football field. Their hard work and dedication continue to make a tremendous difference in our student, athletes, and community.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's some good stuff.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's really good.
To say that our field was
That's
best,
good stuff.
you know, everyone walked out with their chest out, so. I wish we had better results.
That's okay.
That is good.
As Coach Salvati said, to be continued, so,
Yes, yeah.
so that's a good thing. Okay, we will now go on to the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Town of North Branford held its annual tree lighting event last Friday night. It was a remarkable and well-attended event to ring in the holidays despite the cold weather. Nina Paradis won our raffle to turn on the tree lights with some assistance from our mayor, Rose Angeloni. As always, this event is made special every year by our staff at Park and Rec and our volunteers. Special thanks go to Cliff Potter for the hay rides, the MB High School Choir, North Branford Rotary, and MC Mike Pradati, as well as Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, and our Public Works, Police, and Fire Departments for their support as well, and our generous sponsors for the fireworks display. We're doing a ribbon cutting for Lash Studio, a salon offering a variety of eyelash treatments, facials, and waxing services on Wednesday, December 10th at 2 p.m. The Lash Studio is located at 1211 Foxen Road. Parks and Recreation will be hosting home-cooked dinners the second Friday of every month from 5:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. at the Stanley T. Williams Community Center. Upcoming dates are Friday, December 12th, Friday, January 9th, and Friday, February 13th, for a suggested donation of $5 per person. And the Senior Center Holiday Luncheon will take place Thursday, December 18th at 12 noon at Stanley T. Williams. The North Branford Public Works Department restocked its sand salt mix at their shed, and all residents are welcome to help themselves to a limit of 2 5-gallon pails. The shed is open 24/7 at the North Branford Public Works for residents only, no contractors. As the council is aware, for the past 2 years, we've filed our audits to the state of Connecticut with 6-month extensions until the end of June. As we've corrected and caught up with a number of the issues that have caused these extensions to be necessary, we targeted this year's submission to the state of Connecticut by the unmodified deadline of December 31st, 2025. Our finance department has completed the front end of this work, and our auditors have been at work here since last month, completing final audit procedures and internal quality review. In your folders tonight, you have a letter from Michelle Loso from our auditors at Seward and Mondi. The letter indicates that a little more time is necessary for them to complete their work. Additionally, there are a couple of items beyond our control that of the auditor that will necessitate a delay in filing by December 31st and will in fact impact the audits of all towns. First, the issuance of the federal compliance supplement by the Office of Management and Budget was delayed, only having been issued on November 25th. I believe this delay was related to the lengthy federal government shutdown this fall. Our auditors must incorporate this new guidance into their process and have been given an extremely short time frame to review it to ensure compliance, so this necessitates a delay. Secondly, there is a brand new General Accounting Standards Board pronouncement on compensated absences, which will require additional time to process. While we are not pleased that we will not be able to hit the targeted December 31st deadline, our auditors estimate that a 1-month extension should be sufficient to complete issuing all required reports by January 31st, 2026. We've accordingly filed for the 1-month extension and expect it will be completed then. This report represents a significant improvement over our prior 2 years as we finalize corrective steps in our year-end procedures. The North Branford Police Department is once again serving as a drop-off point for Toys for Tots. Those wishing to contribute can bring an unwrapped gift and place it in one of the drop boxes located in the department lobby. Your generosity can help bring joy to children in need this season. The Police Department will be collecting toys now through December 18th, I believe. Is that right, Chief? December 18th. The annual staff holiday party will be held this Thursday, December 11th. To accommodate it, Town Hall will close at 4:00 p.m. that day, so those with business to transact with any office there should plan accordingly. And just a reminder that I put out a monthly email newsletter that goes out on the 4th Friday of every month. The next one will go out Friday, December 19th, which is 1 week early on account of the Christmas holiday. The newsletter contains news and announcements from the town and is a great way to keep up with what we have happening. There is a sign-up form on the front page and my page of the town website to receive the newsletter. Also, as a reminder, we have town emergency notifications available through Civic Ready. The residents can sign up for. You can text North Branford, no spaces, to 38276 to get emergency alerts and community notifications. You can also sign up online, northbrantfordct.gov/alerts, or call 475-655-0400 to sign up via phone. Notifications go out via text, email, and phone call. Finally, on a personal note, as the council is aware, I have received and accepted an offer for a new opportunity and will be departing my position as town manager. This decision was not made lightly. I deeply appreciate the opportunity the North Branford Town Council gave me to serve the residents of the community I was born and raised in. I am especially grateful for the opportunity I've had to work with such an amazing town staff. These are hardworking, dedicated public servants who are tireless in their effort to make our amazing little town the best it can be. And I thank the council, the staff, and the residents who have given me such great support in this role. I'm looking forward to the new challenges that await me, and I will always remember the great people I had the privilege of working with here. And while the town council and I will have to determine an agreed-on date for my departure, I'm committed to ensuring that a full and seamless transition of my responsibilities takes place. I'm proud to call North Branford my home, and I'm privileged to have had an opportunity to serve it. As a reminder, in observance of the Christmas holiday, town offices will be closed noon on Christmas Eve, Wednesday, December 24th, closed Christmas Day, Thursday, December 25th. Christmas is a trash holiday, so those with collections regularly occurring on the holiday, your collection will be 1 day late that week. I wish the members of the council, our staff, and all residents an enjoyable Christmas and a happy Hanukkah with family, friends, and loved ones. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Next is Permanent Project Building Committee.
Thank you. Permanent Project Building Committee, North Branford Police Department. The HVAC is still being reviewed and adjustments are being made, and the commissioning report has just been received. North Branford High School glass replacements are in process with 12 items left. Review of the green roof leak is still ongoing, and warranty closeout review is in process. Edward Smith Library HVAC engineer is preparing the drawings, and plans to advertise are being projected for January. And the RFP for commissioning agent has been received and is under review by PPBC. DPW building construction remains in process. Furniture is scheduled for this Friday. Stanley T. Williams Community Center renovation project, the ceiling tile replacement is nearly complete. and NBHS storage building. The foundation has been poured, and further work will commence in the spring. That concludes my report.
Okay. So on Public Works Building, once furniture comes in this week, because I know it was kind of a two-phase, will the crew be moving back into Public Works?
I don't know if we're gonna be moving them right in back there.
Dan?
Yeah, so yeah, this Friday, the crew will move into phase one. That's like the employee wing, locker rooms, bathrooms, break rooms, lunchroom.
Where have they been, where has that been on site, in the garage area?
Currently, yeah, we're out in one of the garage bays temporarily.
Which is rather cold and
Yeah.
not the best.
Not the best, but we may do.
Okay,
And phase two should be later in January.
which is the
That's
office?
the office, conference room, public bathroom.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, great. Okay. On to citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence.
Can I move this over?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, I just moved it for the photos.
Let me first congratulate you
Thank you.
on your new venture. Bill Savastano, Sunnyside Drive. Welcome back, Vinnie, Mr. Whitworth, to the council, all council members. Going forward, let's have a good year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all. I'm here as a taxpayer resident tonight. I'm talking about the trash contract on the agenda tonight. So again, I'll be talking as a resident, but I'll be hinting about, something that maybe have said in our committee or whatever. I'm not speaking for the committee, and I'm also here to be helpful. So I know you're gonna have discussion. There's quite a bit there. I don't know how much you're gonna get through tonight, but I'll be here for questions. I know that it's not always recommended back and forth, but I'll be happy to do it. So it's nice to see that the trash contract is up so early, so we can work it out and have some, deliberations on it. I'd like to state that the obvious, and that's, we all know about the costs and how everything is going up, even in the contracts and whatever. I'd urge you to take the council, take your time and discuss all aspects. Maybe even set up, if you think you need it, a subcommittee to go over the contract. I went over the 3 pages, the first 3 pages of tonight, but I really didn't have time to go through the regular contract. See if anything happened there. Because down through the years, there was a couple of things that got omitted conveniently. So, so you may set up a subcommittee if anybody's interested on the council. We meet Thursday night. I know Thursday's your holiday party, but if you want to just stop by our meeting and, it's not, the contract is not on the agenda. But if you want to just see what we do, talk about the contract and the information we give you, be more than helpful. So my message to the council is to be informed and push back. I think that's a thing that a lot of us don't do often. I've been coming to a lot of meetings down through the years, and I just kind of feel as though if whoever it is gets up here and quotes a price or whatever, you accept it. You gotta push back. In your own family, you go buy a car or you go have the plumber come in. You kind of push back a little bit. See if he's got a cushion there. That's a big word. A lot of these companies have a cushion. I mean, you can tell by when you go out to bid. Now, the bid process is different. If you got 5 bids and you got a high one and you got a low one, You know, the high one, all aspects being the same. And you gotta know that guy's built up a big cushion. Well, you gotta work into that cushion. And I feel as though the John's contract is, there was no pushback. John's is a town-owned company. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing business with him at all, with all his land and trucks and stuff like that. So I'm for the hometown guy. So I want to relate something. Almost 5 years ago, I spoke, you might have remembered, at the end of the last contract, and how disappointed I was because of a couple of things I just said. I didn't feel as though there was much pushback. If you remember the particulars, there was a real messy situation, mirror closed. We were coming out of the pandemic, the meetings weren't even, were a little kind of strange. So this year we should be in a different situation. I feel that John's had too much of a cushion, and I mentioned this a minute ago, and we need to push back against that cushion. I'd like to call your attention to the annual increases. Now, this is different on this contract going forward. Now, I have information and stuff, and I can only go back to 2012, and we started this whole single stream thing, and there was always a contract price and a 2.5% increase every year. That was what they called the escalator every year. Sometimes it's a detriment because it's not a fixed increase each year, it's a percentage, which means that years 2, 3, and 4, now it's a compounded interest. So you get beat up on the escalator and the interest. So I call your attention to that because the first year, next year, according to the paperwork, the contract's going to be the same. Year 2, 3, and 4 is going to be determined by the Consumer Price Index. Now that's a whole nother ballgame. I have no idea. The town attorney here, there's a number you can look up to explain to her. I don't know if you've seen it, but so we'll need help there and going forward with that. So that means that it's not, that 2.5% is now 3%, could be 5%, depending on the index. And how are you going to plan that in, as far as working on a contract? It's going to be interesting. So I'll cut to the chase here. I feel as though going forward, we can keep a status quo, meaning no increase. Now we know we got no increase next year. But from here on out, I think we can keep it the same right for the next 3 years. Now the reason I say that is going back for 5 years, almost 5 years, with that other contract, they increased from year 9 to year 1 of the last 5, year 10 or whatever, a 25% increase. I think maybe Ron might remember it, brought it up at the meeting then. I thought that was pretty steep. Now, not only did he increase it 25%, but he took away bulky waste. Now, he stood before you and said he's going to give it to you, but that's a spin on words. That's a, catchy situation. He charged you 25% more, then he says he's giving you something. Well, you paid for it, and you paid extra for it. And also, if you remember, he wasn't going to pay for the totes no more. So the totes, the first year of this last 5, there's been 2 bills actually. The first year was $18,000 for over 100 of each kind of tote. It was 112 of each. And then only a few months ago, there was another bill for 11,000, a few more totes, one, whatever it was, and a bunch of parts, because he does repair them. So I'm saying that to finish up, the last 3 years, the bulk, we paid 300,000 for 100,000 a year. And I say, we are status quo, and that's our way of getting even, if you want to call it get even, or leveling out the field. Couple of things I don't want,
You have to wrap it up, Bill.
Yes,
You're already over.
one more minute, please. Go back to 5 years ago. We were at $1 million for several years. We got the benefit of last 2 years of free recycling, and that kept us right around $1 million. But from that point, I'm losing my thought now. So if we took round figures, 50 weeks into $1 million, that's 20,000 a week. Basically, that's what he makes a week, but that's what he gets a week. But now, right now, we're at $1.5 million. Divided by 50 weeks, that's 30,000. Now that's, in 5 years, we went from 20 to 30,000. That's a 50% increase. We can't sustain that no more. So I'm here for the rest of the evening. Hopefully, I can help you with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Cliff Potter, 1251 Middletown Avenue. I don't want to bring this up, but I guess I have to. There was a lot of ethics violations during the last contract. I personally talked to Andy Bizzuto. People from the recycling committee who have no business going behind your back was asking Andy questions. Andy did not feel comfortable talking to the people. You are the people he should be talking to. When the recycling committee goes out and does stuff on their own, they're out of control. Again, you know I'm after commissions and how they behave. And that behavior was not to be tolerated, and it should not happen again. Any dealing with contracts and contractors should come from you, not from the man behind me. And I'll still give you a ride home, don't worry.
I don't think so at this point.
Okay, whatever. No, I'm a man of my word.
Well, I am too.
So again, there was a lot of things, and I don't like to bring up dirty laundry. And again, it happened. You all know, well, you don't all know because some of you are new. And when they go to talk to a contractor, he gave them bogus numbers because they weren't the official representatives. That can't happen again. How you handle talking to the contractor is not through these people, it's through you. You may want a subcommittee, but you can't give them the power to bother contractors. It's not healthy, and it's not ethical. And again, if you go to an outside town, we've had that. We had this company from Manchester. It was terrible. Our garbage sat at our curbs for months and for weeks. They broke down. They didn't show up. Andy's in town. He's a resident. He pays taxes here. He employs people from our town. His equipment is taxed. His property's taxed. And other vendors come into town and spend money here. So again, if you go into this at all, you be the controlling people, not the man behind me and his people. It was very embarrassing. Mike Duty had to come back from out west to help fix it. That's the part, I mean, I didn't want to have to say this tonight, but that's what happened. I don't know how many of you were here when that happened, but it happened. Now, I just wanted to I want to thank all the parents that brought their kids to our hay rides. We have got the best kids in the world in town. They're so polite. They're just great kids. They're going to be great citizens in this town, and they're going to make this town great. And the efforts of everybody. we love doing that thing. I think we'd do it if it was sub-zero in a blizzard. We still have it because we have that much fun. I mean, it's a town effort of a small town, but we go big and we go fast and we have a great time. And so I want to say, as long as I got breath, I'll be there. So you can push those stairs up and back for those kids to get on the hayride. Because we all had more fun than them, but I'll never tell them that. But it was great. And we were worried that nobody was going to show up because, it was predicted to be so. We did not stop until, I don't know, after 8, from 6:15. I mean, I didn't get to see anybody, but I got to see the people I needed to see, the kids of North Branford, the future of North Branford. So again, that's my attaboy, my ethics. As you know, I'm on committees, so you got to keep an eye on what is done behind your back, and don't let it happen again. And I'll still give you a ride.
All right, thank
You don't need it? Okay.
We got you.
Anthony's newest job, Uber.
Okay. Any others? So we have one item on the agenda for citizen statements. It's in regards to, it's correspondence from the superintendent in regards to the Auger House. So the Board of Ed has had a use agreement for the last several years to use the Auger House, and they have moved out of the Auger House effective November 30th on there. And I just want to make sure we have changed everything over, insurance and all utilities, so,
I'll check with Michael from
It's
the
all in
audience.
process.
okay, so we don't have to worry about
No.
any frozen pipes or anything like
no,
that?
we're good.
Okay, just, on there. So this is, back, so the town now has use of it, actually for the tree lighting on Friday night. Beyond the Horizon, is an organization in town that works closely with Park and Rec, and they had a, sensory-friendly, setup in the Auger House for kids. Anyone that, needed a little break from all of the noise and commotion out there, and they set up a really nice thing on the inside so people could go inside. So it will be an area that the town can now use, and I believe our Park and Rec department is already thinking of some ideas of how to use it, so, which is a good thing.
Refresh my memory, where did they put that program now? Like, is it in the high
Right.
school?
Right now, it's in the auditorium.
Okay.
Some additional space in there. Part of the reason is that program is growing and they will outgrow the Auger House, so they are looking for additional, space that they can move into, but for the time being, they are over in the auditorium
I just
right now.
couldn't remember where that is.
Yeah, that's where they moved to, on there. Okay, on to, are there any other public comments, citizen statements? Okay, resignations and appointments. The first appointment is, do I have a motion to accept the appointment of Elizabeth Sienna as a representative to the Pension Committee for the Board of Education?
Motion.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Miller, seconded by Counselor Palicia. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Madam Mayor, if I
The
could,
next
I would
is-
just want to note that in the memo there, you'll want to note the terms of expiration there, and I have the motions written out there for you. So that first one should just be noted that it's a December 1st, 2027 expiration.
12/1/27?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Do I have an appointment for Victoria Lanza as an alternate to the Pension Committee for the Board of Education, term to expire 12/1/27?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, second by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Is there a date for the next one for a permanent project?
No, those, as noted in the motion, those expire on the completion of the projects they're associated with.
Okay, all right. So do I hear an appointment of Elizabeth Sienna as representative to the Permanent Project Building Committee for the Board of Education for the North Branford High School project?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion?
One thing about that, if I may. Having been on permanent projects, some of you may know, those meetings go for hours, 3 hours sometimes, every Monday. Jeff, you'll know that Liz Sienna was there routinely. So she sat through all those meetings, and she's a real trooper when it comes to that, so I strongly endorse this.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Do I hear an appointment of Kim Dawson as representative to the Permanent Project Building Committee for the Board of Education for the North Branford High School? She is replacing Zach Canada.
That motion?
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. The next is appointment of Matthew Fleming, unaffiliated, to the Economic Development Commission to replace Melissa Pantaleo as commercial with marketing background, term to expire 12/31/27.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Miller, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Discussion? There was his resume in our packet, which we had asked to have, so, because he is a new appointment on there. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. On to unfinished business, discussion and action. Proposed policy for use of economic development fund from sale of town-owned properties.
Good evening. So last month, revised draft was presented to you, and then you requested that I bring it to the Blueprint Committee to solicit their feedback. As counselors and panel mentioned, I brought it there last month, introduced it to them, and the draft that's before you tonight is unchanged from last month.
Okay, so there is a motion on page 25 of our packet.
That the town council approve the economic development fund policy as presented.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion?
Could I just ask, can anybody make an application for the funding? Is that how it's gonna work? And would it be publicized so anybody in town who had an idea or a business could then make that?
Yeah, theoretically, it's also written so that if there is a program that would involve members of the public applying for funds, so for example, like a facade improvement program, that it would go through the same process, the individual applications.
So there would be an official application they could ask for?
We haven't drafted a form yet. We certainly could. Depends on the type of program that's being proposed. We could take a look at whether we could accommodate, all types of applications.
So if the Economic Development Commission came up with an idea, like they wanted to institute a facade program, let's say, so they would make a proposal to the council?
Correct.
And ask for X number of dollars type of thing out of the fund, and then an application for that specific program would be developed and the program would be advertised, that type of thing?
Individual applications for that program would also come to the council for approval.
Right, okay. Okay. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is proposed ordinance 2025-1, right to farm ordinance, referred from the Agriculture Commission.
Madam Mayor, you'll have in your packet a redraft of this and review of it. It's the same draft, but you had asked at your last meeting for the town attorney to provide some additional definition information according to Connecticut General Statutes. The town attorney did provide that. I did send that to the council last week, I believe. And that is here in your packet as well from the town attorney. And if the council would like to move forward with this item, you would need to set a public hearing. So there's a suggested motion here to set the public hearing for your next regular meeting, which would be January 20th.
Okay,
Make that motion.
okay.
The North Branford Town Council will hold a public hearing on proposed ordinance 2025-1 entitled Right to Farm on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 7 p.m. in North Branford Town Council Chambers at Town Hall, 909 Fox Road, North Branford, Connecticut.
Second?
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is reviewing possible town charter revision timelines.
Yes, Madam Mayor, per the last discussion at the November 18th meeting, this is just being held in your unfinished business until the council wishes to take further action with it.
Okay. So does anyone have any, so the discussion, or the issue here is the council needs, if we are going to move forward with town charter revision, in order to get it on the ballot, if it does move forward, we have to make a decision on this by our January meeting on there, so that there's enough time to form the committee, give them their charge, they meet, they have to have a report. We have to finalize everything by by August, our August meeting, so that the town clerk has it and everything gets on the ballot. So, I am just gonna open it up for discussion right now. If there's anything, just to get a feeling, are we moving forward with this? Do you need more time? Would you like to wait until January to make a final decision on this? But we just need to
Well,
know.
I've talked to some people that were involved in the town for years in terms of this. And unless we were going to look at a number of issues within the charter, I've been told that it's quite a laborious task.
It is.
And I think we need to know how many areas are we looking at? If we're only looking at the 15% of the votes, is it really necessary? Or can we do a better job of advertising? From what people I've talked to in town that have been through it in the past, it is quite a task.
It is,
And
yes.
Is that the only topic? If it is there a different way to do it? That's my question.
I agree, we have to know what we're looking to go after, and look at, and judge or change, or whatever it may be. I think we need to get a better idea, and work with our town attorney to have a better idea of maybe what some modernized towns like ourselves are doing, and get some ideas of what may be best to move forward if we're gonna do this. And I don't think we're ready to do that tonight, but I do think if we're gonna make a decision, we have to do it by January. But we should have some, caucus conversations and get some ideas floated around.
I like that something. The charter was formed, according to reading the charter, in 1971. It's a long time ago. The last amendments were made in 1994, which is 32 years ago, okay? So I think part of the role of the committee is to identify bringing the charter up to date. So by just saying tonight, we would pick and choose which items to address. I think we should leave that up, move forward and leave that up to a charter committee to say, these are the items that should be addressed to bring it into the 21st century. But if something hasn't been addressed in 32 years, isn't it time to revisit it and say, okay, are we still doing the right thing? And let a committee come and tell us whether we're still doing the right thing or whether we should change certain parts of it.
Well, I believe, and the town attorney is that the council gives direction to the charter committee, correct?
Yeah, the town, when you form, assuming you form a charter revision commission, you as the body forming it would make recommendations for the things that the commission look at. However, they are not handcuffed just to look at those issues. They can and should look at everything in the charter and can make recommendations regarding anything in the charter, not just what you ask them to look at. So if you ask them to look at the 15%, they can go beyond that. They can look at references, you know, he, she, they, them, look at combining boards and commissions, looking at the budget process. There's a lot of things that they can look at. Frankly, everything in the charter they can look at.
I'd like to just add that I don't think we should open it up just for the 15%. I think the 15% is there to protect the town, so that a small majority of people who are very vocal on a certain issue do not speak for the entire town. I think it's a good fail-safe that we have there. It was put there for a reason. I think we should maintain that. And I don't think we should open up the charter just for that reason. As for the commission, I kind of look at things differently than Vin. I think if you just throw the charter at a committee, it could turn into a lot of turmoil, and with such an aggressive timeline and a lot of work that needs to be done, I think we need to really identify, you know, at the most 5, you know, hardcore topics to really give them charge on and look at, so that they can stay focused on those things. If they stumble across some other things, then they can bring it before us and we can hear them out. But to just, you know, just hand them over, hey, look at the charter and see what you think, I think it's gonna be very difficult. I think, you know, if we do this, we have to have something in mind, we have to be focused about it, and we need to have a good plan.
I myself see no reason to open it up. Maybe we should leave it just the way it is.
Okay.
I would like to, Brian, you see a lot of town charters and stuff like that. Is it possible that, you know, you could give us, if we were gonna open up the charter, if you could give us some recommendations on some things that we could tighten up and look at, and then we can, you know, I know it's a tough timeline, but if you can get that to us maybe a couple weeks before our next meeting, so we have some time to digest it. And then we'll have a better idea of you know, what we might wanna open it for, or decide that, no, you know what, we're okay with the way it is, and we'll just leave it the way it is.
But Ron, let me just respond to what you said.
Sure.
How many commissions and committees do we have when we go through this here? And we just voted to appoint certain people to certain committees. So we leave it up to those people who want to do that there to make the decisions and recommendations, whether it's laborious or not laborious. But this is part of what we do. And I think by appointing people for a charter revision committee, they can come back and they can say, yes, we should change it, or they can go back and say, like Walt Goat said, well, we don't think that you have to change anything in there, all right? But let's get the opinion of outsiders other than just us.
I think a group of people working without a charge and a direction is a recipe for disaster.
Okay.
I think they need to have some sort of a charge and direction so that they know what they're doing. If you get people in there and everybody has their own agenda and they start going off on tangents, nothing gets completed. If they know that there's a charge and there's 5 topics, 4 topics, 3 topics that the town council has directed them to specifically look at, and then maybe look at other stuff, I think it helps them unite better as a group to stay focused on the topics that we're interested in, and it also helps them be more efficient in what they're looking to do. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Brian, can you describe the process and how a council goes about doing what we're trying to discuss here.
Yeah, yeah, I just finished one of these in another town. It was just on the ballot in November. So we do these not all the time, but we do them frequently. You have to decide whether you want a charter revision commission, whether you want to form it. And if you do, you give them some things to look at. You know, the town I just did, it had them look at the entire budget process, because they have a town meeting, adjourned town meeting, referendum process that's very complicated, and it was unworkable. It was unwieldy, the way the dates were working. So they went through that and redid their whole budget process. They keep many of the fundamentals, but they changed the areas that weren't working. They were also directed to look at certain boards and commissions, to look at, there were several topics, probably about 8 or 10 things they were asked to consider. All the members of their council came up with different points they thought should be reviewed in the charter, and then they discussed them as a whole, and they made recommendations. Yes, that's something we want the commission to look at. So they gave them quite a bit of guidance. But then when they start, I always tell the commissions, you know, you should read the whole charter. We should go in order as we go through this thing. You know, I'll make recommendations as we get to different sections, whether there's other ways to do it, or whether it's fine, or whether it's illegal, because times have changed, the law has changed sometimes. You have to do things differently. But they'll go through every section, you know, focusing, of course, and answering everything that you as a council have asked them to look at, respond to your recommendations, and then you decide whether you accept their report or you don't like their report, and you want to send them back to work on it again or consider something. They're finally going to come back, and it's going to be up to you whether you accept any of their recommended changes or not, any or all of them, and then you could send them, all of them or some of them, to the electorate to vote on next November. It's kind of an overview of how the process will work, but you should give them some guidance. You folks should have an idea, not just say, look at our charter, because what does that mean? You know, if there's things you want them to look at, there should be a reason you have them look at it.
But even as we give them, or if we give them some guidance, they're still gonna open the whole charter and go through the whole.
Yeah, they have the
charter.
right to
So
look
which
at
is-
anything in the charter
Yeah.
and make
Okay.
recommendations
Pandora's box is
regarding
open.
anything. You can't limit them. You cannot limit them to any
Right.
certain
Okay.
items.
But we ultimately have the final say.
That's correct.
Yeah, it comes back to us.
You can reject their report. You could say, thank you for the last 9 months. Here's your certificate of appreciation, and not send it to the electorate. Or you could take one of their, you know, recommendations out of 10, say, and just send one of them. It's up to you. You have a lot of control in the end. There could be a referendum at that point. The public could have a referendum on your rejection of what they did to get them on the ballot, but I've never seen that happen.
And with this size town, would it be, you think, a half a dozen people on a committee?
Yeah, the number has to be, you've got to make at least that many people. You have to do, I'm trying to go to the number here, I don't have my notes on how many.
I thought it was
5 to
15.
15.
5 to 15, yeah.
Okay.
You know, you want a good cross-section of people. You want to make sure you have enough that are going to show up at the meetings.
Yeah.
You don't have an issue to not have a quorum, because it's a lot of work. It's a laborious task. You know, it's not the most interesting. You got to get people that want to read the charter and spend the time to read that document and think about it.
The reason I'm basically so negative of just not opening it is I haven't heard anything from anybody the whole time we've really talked about it, where it's like this real issue that we have to straighten. I haven't heard any like really strong reason to open it up. To me, I think we're just looking for trouble. Like I haven't, you know, not that we're perfect, but I haven't heard any, you know.
Strong
I don't understand
arguments.
all the details to it, but I haven't heard anything that says to me, oh my God, we gotta definitely take care, we gotta do something here. Like, I haven't heard anything.
Can we ask, and I think you've already asked this, and I did mention it earlier, can Brian take a look at the charter and see if there's anything glaring that may be out of date? And then we can have a better idea of what maybe we should be looking at? Or if there's nothing that's, you know, really out of line or out of the box, we don't touch it. Then, you know, at least we're getting a professional eye to look at it, and you can use your experience with other towns and what you've seen and say, okay, here's an area where, you know, we're antiquated, or here's a suggestion. If there's enough of them, we open it up and we do something about it, we look at it. If there's not, then we keep it put. Right now, it's just opinions, but we should probably get a professional opinion as to where we sit.
Well, I think with the last budget process and the property appraisals and the tax increases, you know, people were upset. And I think that's one of the things that has to be looked at.
No doubt
All
about
right?
that, but that doesn't
So-
change how much we need to run the town.
Well, it has to be looked at, and a charter revision may be, or a referendum vote may be necessary, and let the electorate decide whether or not they like to pass it.
what would they,
That doesn't do anything.
yeah, the reval is not in the charter.
I-
And so what would they be looking at in the charter related to what you just talked about? Reval, the budget, you know, tax
Well,
increase?
You
How
would
is
let
that?
them decide how they're going to look at the charter. That's part of their role, is to look at the charter to see what revisions they can make based on the information that we give them.
But what's the goal? Because, I mean, the reality is any charter change, other than the 15%, there's nothing that's going to change in the amount of revenue that we need in order to run this town in the way that we are running it, right? I mean, it's not gonna change by charter. Either we have to tighten up how we run the town, or we have to have more revenue come in via more revenue coming from our back pockets, or coming from, and, you know, some type of businesses that are growing and economic, you know, development. That's the recipe, like that, the charter doesn't determine that. It's just dollars and cents to determine that.
If I may, one thing to think about, you know, it usually comes down to the budgets. You know, people start these because of the budget process, for whatever reason, are we doing the right thing or not? And you have a budget process, as you know, where you have a referendum, but just one referendum. And if you don't get the 15% of the people, the budget is approved. But even if you do have the 15%, and even if they do reject the budget, they say, I reject the budget because it's too low or too high. As you know, it comes back to you folks, and you make a change. It could be $1 change. That's your budget once you vote on it. Other towns have processes that have repeated referendums. You have to watch your timelines. It keeps going out to referendum, coming back until you have a budget, where it's reduced or added to over and over until you run out of time, potentially, you know, you get the tax bills out of time. If you have a July 1st, the budget has to be in effect by July 1st. So do you want to fundamentally consider changing that? That's one thing. If you're happy with the way it works, yes. But even if you change your percentage, you know, make it lower than 15% and make it 5%, if you leave everything else the same, you could have the same result. You can have a rejected budget, you can come back, make a slight change, and that becomes your budget. So that's just the system you've always had and how you do it. So you have to think, you know, what you're asking for and where you want to end up. What do you want?
Yeah,
That's just
a very good point. Yeah, so I think more of that and dissecting what we have right now, if you would be so kind to look at that and then apply your knowledge from other towns that are similar in size that you've worked with and have knowledge of, and then you can come back to us, you know, with an abridged report of, here are some areas where maybe we are antiquated, or maybe we can use some change, or if there's not enough, we could also, you know, get that type of.
Yeah, that we can, I will, thank you. Or you could be right, in other towns, you know, you have to, depends how you look at it, you know, you've always.
Of course.
You may be antiquated, but doesn't mean, because it's old.
Doesn't mean it's wrong, yes.
I tell that to my wife all the time about my ties. My t-shirts, you can, they may be old.
I would just ask that you give us 2 weeks prior to our
Yes,
next
I
meeting,
wrote that down.
just so we have enough time to digest
So
it.
next
And I
meeting
give you
we'll
some
vote on
Christmas
it.
homework, I think you folks should probably, your charter's not very big.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's how many pages, 16 pages.
Yeah.
You know, I think you guys should, ladies should, you
And
know.
we all got a copy last month
Get a
in the
copy,
blue
you know, it's
folder.
nice to sit around the fire. And with your
not
favorite
bad.
beverage and read the charter by the Christmas tree.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay. Appointments of liaisons to boards and commissions, this is gonna stand, I will do that at our January meeting on there. So if anyone is interested in being a liaison to a certain board and commission, just shoot me an email or let me know, and I will take that into consideration. On to new business, discussion and action. The first item is ratification of the 2026-29 collective bargaining agreement between the North Branford Board of Education and the North Branford Federation of Teachers. And I would like to defer to Marie Diamond. She was the liaison, she was the board representative on that committee. So Marie will just go over a few points with us at this point in time.
Thank you. I would point out that overall, the increase was approximately 12% increase. The majority of increases within the state of Connecticut were 13 or higher. So I think that, I commend the board for working with the teachers, and I also commend the teachers for working well. We only had 4 sessions, which is unusual. A couple years ago, when I was on one of the commissions, I went home at 4 o'clock in the morning with mediation. So I do think that they worked hard together. I would remind the town council that if you reject this contract, it goes to arbitration. I know Rose has too. I was on the board when we rejected 1 year and we lost, and then we have to pay all the fees, okay, if you reject it. We had a lot of information, and I would say that North Branford is kind of in the middle in terms of ability to pay, in terms of where we stand in contracts with teachers. I think that with earlier on steps, we're probably a little higher. With steps, people who are on higher steps in terms of masters and 6th year, we're probably a little bit lower. I think that pretty much overall, we're pretty much within the average.
Marie, if I could, sorry to interrupt, but the 12% is over how many years?
That's for 3, I'm sorry, it's for
3?
3 years. And basically what, if you look carefully at the contract, at the steps, there are 12 steps, and the first 2 years, there's movement in the steps, but the last year there isn't. The last year, there's an increase at the top step, and that's pretty common in school systems, because very often the people at the top never get any kind of increase. The other thing is, I've talked to people who never get to the top because they always, in different
There's no step
contracts,
movement.
they put freezes. But I think what happened here is I think the board let the teachers make a lot of suggestions, and I think everybody felt very comfortable in terms of the results. As I said, I think that overall, and I've looked at a lot of contracts, I did a lot of research, I think North Branford worked hard and did a good job, and I would highly recommend that you. Now, we have 2 choices. We can just not act, and then it becomes the contract, or we can vote on it.
I think we should support.
But we could support, yes, we could support.
Madam Mayor, I was really impressed with the conclusion, if everybody read it, of the report. And it says the tentative agreement demonstrates the board's appreciation of its teaching staff, but by being a full percentage point below the statewide average of wage increases. The tentative agreement also notes the committee's consideration of the cost impact on taxpayers. The results achieved in arbitration will likely be higher than those negotiated, as demonstrated by the state average. However, by reaching an agreement collaboratively, the board avoided the cost of arbitration and sent a message of cooperation and respect to its staff. For all these reasons, we recommend that the board ratify the tentative agreement. And I hereby make a motion that we adopt the recommendation of the agreement as it proposed to us.
There's a suggested motion
There
there,
is a
Bob.
motion in there.
Why don't you read that one?
I can't hear you.
There's a suggested motion in there. You can utilize it.
I don't have my computer.
Well, I'll read it for you, but this is your motion. North Branford Town Council hereby approves the 2026 through 29 collective bargaining agreement between the North Branford Board of Education and North Branford Federation of Teachers.
That's the motion.
I'll second it.
One thing I forgot to mention, the teachers' union pays the largest amount in premium share, 23%.
And they have.
More than any other union in this town.
Yes, and they have for a number of years.
Yes.
I mean, they've stayed at 23%, but they've been paying 23% for at least 6 years on there, because they were paying 23% when I worked there, and I've been retired for for 3 years, and they were paying it before then. So they have paid the highest amount on their premium
didn't
shares.
change.
Yes. And so I mean, I read from their board attorney, the memorandum in regards to the contract. I agree with Marie, you know, so there are 2 years that the teachers have step movement. The third year where they do not have step movement, they still get a wage increase in the step that they're on. So they still get a wage increase.
But
They
it's
just,
not-
they're just not.
Never moving on.
Yeah, they're just not moving up, on there. But I totally agree with supporting the contract and voting, on the contract, not just letting it go the 30 days to show our support for the teachers in this town and for our,
And you know, it's
the
getting
staff.
harder and harder to find good teachers. If you read the news in this state and throughout the country, there are more and more people leaving the profession. It's harder to find people, particularly in certain areas. And I think North Branford has done very well in terms of getting some good teachers.
And, you know, agreeing to a budget like this, we have to make sure that, you know, we fully fund the Board of Ed budget, because they have a contract that they have to abide by, you know, and, you know, I know in the past, you know, there's been agreements, and, you know, sometimes we've gotta make sure that we take care of our teachers, you know, so that's all I have to say on that. So I think I kept requesting comparisons, because sometimes I like to look at things, what the old language was and what the new language is. And the way I received it, I had to go through the whole contract and find it myself, but I think it's a fair and good contract, you know, for it all, and I think they worked well to come to an agreement.
any other discussion?
Thanks for all your time, guys. Appreciate you doing a lot.
Yes, Marie has been our liaison to the Board of Ed for a number of years on their contracts.
And I
and she
remember
is
the
a-
year that I was there, I walked out at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I've had some of those years when I was on the board, so, okay.
Good job.
So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is draft of proposed ordinance 2025-2, peddling, hawking, and vending. It's quite the ordinance title here. So, Chief, is this something with your department?
Can Chief explain hawking, please?
Yeah.
Falconing?
Next meeting, January.
Okay.
We worked through some revisions with the town attorney. It came down to, I know at the time we had a lot of thoughts on different type of fees for vendors. I think what became settled on, from my understanding, is that we wanted to make it also fair and equitable in the way that we defined the groups that would receive the no fees. And I think we came up with the terms of using Town of North Branford.
Yeah, if I may.
Exact word-
So
wording
what we
on that.
tried to do in working with the chief is looking at, you know, how to make this more workable and equitable, and something the department can issue the permits on. So we defined mobile food vendors, something you were missing, your food trucks or your food carts. We made that a separate category. And then, under the fees, something we talked about, you remember last time, this annual fee, we made it so that a mobile food vendor shall be half the price, $125, but for 6-month periods. So we didn't tie a food truck into a full year, into a 12-month period of time, but into a 6-month period of time. And then, probably more important, we looked at the exemptions, and that's something we talked about, school groups, things like that, and we exempted from the requirement of a permit any sale at any event, fair, auction, or bazaar held or sponsored by an ecclesiastical society, a church corporation, a nonprofit organization, or the Town of North Branford School Group, or a Town of North Branford School Group. So we can cover those PTAs, the booster clubs, those types of things that want to have a fundraising event that may not be a formal, not-for-profit, but in fact, it's going, or a scout group that's going back, and makes it easier for them to bring in a food truck at one of those events, or at a craft fair or whatever. So.
How about the leagues, like the softball, baseball, football, whatever, little leagues.
Yeah, if that's a,
Because they're not school-related?
are they
Yeah.
related to the town?
Because there could be rec division
Yeah.
leagues that do things.
Well, rec, would be town.
Is there gonna be the type of?
We kept going back and forth on this line.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the type of thing where everybody can kind of say, well, it's at the school, it's on school property, it's for, like, is it gonna be, and then you can almost say, well, it's a school, it's kind of on town property, so.
My question is
You know,
too, is there a
we're exempt
loophole,
too.
is there a loophole in there where, and you started to say something, Brian, if one of those exempt organizations brings in a food truck, the food truck is then exempt because it's tied to that organization?
Yeah, you don't need a vendor's license.
See, I thought you would need, I thought if like the organization themselves was selling cookies or whatever else like that, but if you're bringing in an outside vendor,
Well, they still have to go through East Shore Health and have that permit, and they just don't need,
All right, well,
they just don't need the permit from the police department.
They need
That's-
both.
yeah.
Right now they
Yeah,
need both.
Right now they need both, yeah.
So what this would do for those types, like school groups and whatever else, they don't need the police. They don't need the police, and if they bring in a food truck, that food truck still needs East Shore Health.
100%.
But is there any need to manage the process? How do you know what's going on if?
I think they should still get a
You
permit
know what I
for you
mean?
guys,
Like,
even if they're exempt.
let's say I'm associated with a school or a church or something similar to what Brian mentioned, and I'm gonna have a fundraiser and I invite this pizza truck in. How do you know that I invited, or how does the police department know I invited that pizza truck in? Because they don't need a permit. Do you need to know? That's the other question. Do you need to know?
Yeah, I mean, well, the compliance comes in whether if we stop and check or get a report of something, they're either gonna have a permit issued from the police department, or they're gonna have an explanation of what they're doing there that's gonna either meet the needs for the exception or not meet the needs for the exception, and then the ordinance will come into play of what the fine will be through the town.
So I guess what you're saying to me is if that pizza truck came in, you don't need to know it. In a sense.
Chief, you don't.
I don't need to be notified that the truck's coming in for a
Okay.
specific event for something like
You
that.
raise an interesting point, though, as
Yeah.
we talk about this. So I'm having my church fair, and the pizza guy shows up. And if I hired him and I get 20% of his pizza sales, that's good. It's going into my, the church coffers. If the guy just shows up, he doesn't, the way this is written, the way it's written now, he doesn't need a permit if my church has it. What if I don't want him there? I guess I can call and have you kick the truck off my property, but if he parks on the street in front of the church.
I think I said this last time, I think everybody should get a permit.
Yeah.
And I just think, even if they're exempt and they don't have to pay, there should still be a process where they get a permit. And correct me if I'm wrong, chief, but a patrolman gets called out there, and he's gotta now try to figure all this stuff out. Even if they're exempt, if they have the permit there, in my mind, it would make their job a heck of a lot easier, because then they could say, okay, you got your health permit, you got your permit from the town, and you can stamp it exempt or whatever else like that, and then he can say, okay, this guy's good, and move on. But if he's gotta go there, and he's gotta then try to figure out, okay, what's this rule or this standard again, and, try to piece it together and stuff like that, it just seems like if they had a permit, even for the exempt people, it just keeps everything much more organized.
Yeah.
And it's more work for the police department, because now they have to take care of that. So I do think, and since the beginning, I still think there should be a fee. If somebody's coming to do an event, and if they can't handle spending $50 or $100 for that one day, well, I mean, what do you, you should be able to handle spending that. If you go to a flea market, you go to any of these events everywhere else, everybody's gotta pay fees to sell stuff at a tag, these flea markets. So the fee would be covering the police having to give you that permit. I don't think it should even be free. It should be a small fee.
Could be a reduced rate of some
Yeah,
sort.
but I think we should,
Yeah.
in other words, I think since we're already going, instead of having to have your permit for the year, if we give a one-day thing, but at the same time, the one-day thing shouldn't be $25. I mean, I think anybody that's got a food truck, if they can't handle spending $50, I don't mean to seem cold, but I guess you shouldn't be there then if you can't.
I mean, sometimes they're small events though. I mean, I'll just give an example. We did an event for Halloween we brought in several groups for a softball tournament for our young kids. It was separated. It was supposed to be one big event, and then it ended up being a smaller group, and then a couple grades above us, they did it on a different Saturday due to some scheduling conflicts. We had some trucks, and I think both these trucks had permits anyway, but let's just say they didn't. They weren't gonna make any money. They were doing us a favor. They were doing it for the kids. They had an ice cream truck come in that was making, he probably made $50. I mean, he did this to be charitable to the organization.
But an ice cream truck basically can't look at, well, I'm only gonna do this one event. They should look at it as, well,
No, I
I'll
get
have to
it.
make sure I go to 5 events, 10 events.
Yeah, I mean,
How many
you would
trucks are
think
gonna
that
come
that's
for
the
one
case,
event?
but I'm just saying that sometimes we're trying to, you have a lot of volunteer people that are trying to get an event for the kids.
But the police aren't volunteering. The police have to handle this paperwork.
I understand.
There's an expense to that, and for their time, we're paying the police department.
I get it.
And they're monitoring the whole thing, and they're kind of keeping track of it and organizing.
I
And they're the
understand.
guys that gotta show up if there's a problem. So why should it be for free?
Yeah.
There
I
should be
mean,
an expense.
What's our cost right now
It's $250.
for the year,
Yeah.
right? And we're looking at.
Whether you use it one day or use it all year long.
Yeah.
Calendar year.
But you have exemptions under your ordinance right now.
Yeah.
Right now, you exempt farmers, gardeners, tag sale, I'm sorry,
Tag sale, garage sales.
yeah, the tag sales, garage sales, or any general sale, fair, auction, bazaar, held or sponsored by an ecclesiastical society, church, corporation, or nonprofit organization.
Okay.
But you didn't have in school groups, that was a concern that came up last time. I suppose we can have town groups, what is it, if we're gonna have rec groups, or,
Well, I guess the rec group would be non-profit, right?
So,
are you?
what started this? What sparked this? Let's go back to the beginning. Are we making a mountain out of a molehill?
Yeah, so what sparked it was that we weren't getting compliance. And then when you start looking at why you're not getting compliance, you start seeing where these food vendors are being used at. So we have new businesses in town that were using food trucks, but the fee during that time was apprehensive to them, I'm assuming, because they were only getting use out of it for, let's say a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And then we had groups in town, even whether they were on town properties or doing fundraising events of that nature, where that amount would far exceed what they'd even bring in for profit. And the monies that were, the reasons they were going there were to fund organizations that support our children and other activities in town. So we were trying to come up with a way where you're not just, you want, if we're gonna be in charge with enforcing an ordinance under the town, how do you make it more equitable to enforce that and to gain compliance? And that's just like any ordinance or statute or whatever is out there.
Because I'm kind of getting the feeling, the more we talk about it, the more complicated we're making
We're
it.
almost,
I mean,
we're trying to make it more expensive than less.
Yeah.
He's trying to get it less expensive. We're like, let's charge them for everything.
So.
Yeah,
Well, what I'm
and that's
saying-
where we're going back with, even with the wording we came up with, it's tough to define every organization we have in town, especially if a new organization comes up that would fit into that matrix. So we're gonna come back here and do another change to add a name into it. So that's kind of the long story short of how we got started.
I have a
with that.
small issue too,
Yeah.
Chief. I agreed that we should not have just a 1 year, we should have a 6-month period as well, or even a quarterly period.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it this way here, personally. I'm a vendor. in New England, what is my busy season? Late spring, early fall. By having a according to this here, it expires on January 1st and July 1st. So that means a 6 months run from January through the end of June, and then from July 1st to the end of December, okay? But from January, February, and March, I don't see many vendors going out, but it's the cold months. In November, December, probably December, you won't see that either. I'm looking for, and I thought a rolling 6 month period, and I've seen that work in other organizations, okay? Where if somebody wanted to come in like May 1st to 6 months, whatever, that's the busy season for vendors. The warm weather, not the cold weather. So if I have to pay $125 from January to June 30th, I'm losing half of that time because of the weather conditions. So I was hoping that some way could fit in a 6 month period would be the first of this month to the 30th of this month, whatever it is. So if it was from May 1st to, you know, July 30th, and then from June 1st, whatever the time period be, where the warm weather would entice vendors to come. People are gonna look at it and say, the problem is that I don't wanna pay $250 for a 1 week event, okay? That's understandable, but now you're saying we're gonna accommodate these people, reducing the rate, but we also have to accommodate them for the time period, which is their busy season. Otherwise, they're just wasting money anyway.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming across, but I also think if they're if they're looking for 6 months, then the year is not that far off with an extra $125 that someone's gonna be spending the time in the town of North Branford here. But that decision's up to the council, not to me. So we'll accommodate whatever the ordinance is agreed upon, if there are any changes. Yeah.
Well, I guess
There's different ways to slice it, right? So that's, you know, we'll make do. It's just a matter of putting, hey, 6 months from this date to that date on a permit.
Well,
I
that's
get what you're saying. I understand it.
That's a
yeah.
rolling 6 month. You
Yeah.
see more vendors say, okay, that's prime season for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a 6 month ticket.
How much do we make now, Ed? Do you know, on these permits?
It's not a lot. 'Cause we're getting maybe $500.
Under $1,000.
You're making under 1,000, something to think about. You even want to have a fee or not having a fee. Will that encourage more vendors to come into town and participate in events? I'm just gonna throw
Well,
that out
that was a
there.
question I had too, is what's the purpose of the permit? Is there some sort of checks we're trying to do to validate or verify?
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of the permit is one, it's in the ordinance that sits there and already.
Yeah.
But it makes it hard for us to go and enforce it at businesses if we're not enforcing it on our own town organizations.
Perfect example, we had a person that was going around and just planting anywhere they wanted to. We had to keep going to shut them down. Just coming in and going near the pit stop, right there. And then they moved over to the Northford Center area, so that, you know, that's the only way we can enforce it.
And they actually read the ordinance because now they use a church parking lot.
And now they use the church parking lot, so they know.
So they say they're exempt in the church
Right.
parking. So it's like, yeah, it's almost like.
But I mean, then as far as your end, I can see where the chief is coming from January to 6 months, because if you're gonna do it any time in between, so just say if you did from April to another time, you still got some more months later on, so we can do, either way, it's a catch-22, you can still have to get 6 months one way or the other.
I was just trying to think of the busiest season.
Yeah.
But there are
Because
some
that's what
places
they're
during the
looking
winter
at,
that do
money.
have those vendors outside, some restaurants and everything, so.
But if you did switch it, like he said, if you made the 6 month period the prime period, and then they could say, well, I can get the deal, I could do the 125.
Well, during the prime period,
For the good 6 months.
Yeah.
Or I could do the whole 250 for the year, or I could do the 125 and get the good 6 months. They have that option. We're giving you something, but we still have to get something and still.
Jimmy, how much are we making on this right now?
Under $1,000.
Huh?
Right now, with the non-compliance, so you're making under $1,000.
All right, why don't we get rid of the cost for this and make North Branford a little more open to do business? You have to get the permit, but it doesn't cost you anything. Come on over to North Branford, let's do business. But, you know what I mean, is it gonna make, we're making under $1,000 for this right now?
Last year was a bumper year. Last year you had $2,600.
Well,
Oh, that changes it.
Oh, you mean it's a cash?
26.
we were out there,
That
so.
changes
Well,
it.
with that kind of money, we're gonna have to pave a road.
Within that 2,600, you're looking at, a lot of companies that go door to door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the.
And I would highly suggest not changing that because that is.
That's the hockey.
Yeah, that's different, that's hawking, right?
I would, I would be curious if we
Yeah,
dropped,
literally, that's what
if
it
we
is.
dropped
All
the
jokes
fee,
aside.
if we didn't make more money by gaining compliance.
You could drop the fee for food trucks, mobile food vendors, as we've defined them, and keep the fee for your door-to-door hawkers and siding salesmen or whatever, window salesmen.
For all I care, you can increase that, but, you know,
could increase it
I
too,
mean,
sure,
honestly,
you could do
that's,
that. You could do that.
because it's more of a nuisance than anything else, people coming door to door, and I think a lot of people feel that way.
We have a lot
So-
of problems with that over the summer.
I mean, yeah, and it's obviously with the storm that came through, there's been roofing and siding and this and that. But maybe that's what we do. Maybe we look at this, clearly, we're not ready to make a move tonight, but maybe we
Well,
look at
no,
this.
well, do we have to set an ordinance. I mean, we have to set
Public hearing.
a public hearing
Yeah.
if we wanted to move forward. Because
You can
we'd have to,
You can either recommend modifying it tonight, or you can modify it on the floor.
Maybe modify it that the food trucks are required to, a permit, but will be at no cost. However, hawking will still require X amount, and we can increase it, bump it up.
So we can go back to like you had it before for your annual 250 and only have it January to December, because food trucks would be exempt.
My suggestion would be I would rather not do a permit for food trucks and then just add an exemption into
That's
the
fine.
ordinance. Right. That's because we're just doing paperwork at
That
that
makes
point for no
sense.
reason.
If that's,
You don't want to run the back.
that'd be easier.
You don't think it's necessary?
East Shore Health does.
I mean, they still have to have their health department, that's the most important part of it, so if you feel comfortable on that.
East Shore Health, I didn't know there were background checks involved. East Shore Health does background checks?
Yeah, they run pretty much the same things we do, yeah.
Do you guys do criminal background checks on them?
Well, we have a couple different systems available to us, but it's,
Well, I'm just thinking about protecting the kids, I mean.
I know, but you know, with collect, you can only run so many things for different permits anyway, so we're limited to that aspect.
Yeah, but you can't, you may be able, if they have a no contact to kids, but if I have a criminal record and I want a permit to sell door to door, you can't stop me. You can't stop someone who was arrested, served their time, and is out now. As opposed to someone, that's, so you could
No, I'm more.
you know about the person.
I'm more worried about the vendors with the ice cream and stuff that are there for nefarious reasons.
So, the hawking, I never knew there was a term for this.
Yeah.
But, is there any reason, to encourage it?
How so?
Well, I'm asking, so what's the charge if I wanna go hawk to?
What are you hawking?
This can't.
You can change the name of the ordinance. if you
For
want.
the next 6 months.
Oh, you on
So-
foot or you in the car or a
Yeah.
truck?
So, how much is that? Is that $250?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were to make hawking, $1,000 permit, what's the downside?
Nothing.
Those are, well, I mean, you can set the number at, it comes back to like the ATV ordinance that we passed, right? Well, it's just, it comes down to the fine. So if
Right.
you're gonna set the permit at $1,000, then you still have to make changes to what the fine's gonna be if they don't. Because at
Okay.
that point, the fine doesn't make sense. I would rather just keep getting the fine than pay $1,000 for the permit.
The fine is $100. So you gotta make arrest you 10 times to. break it.
Right, no, no,
Even if they violate state
no,
ordinance,
my
it's like
point,
158, so
no, my point was, so maybe we make the fine, making this, I'm gonna make some stuff up.
Yeah.
The fine's $5,000,
Yeah.
or you can get a hawking permit for $1,000. What's the downside of that?
The downside is just gonna be the compliance. You're not gonna get people to come in, and then we're gonna be chasing them down for. So when they come in and they get a permit, we're IDing all the vendors or all their workers
Okay.
that are going out there.
So there'll be many more people going around the system, is what you're saying?
We can't make it
It's
5,000.
just a hypothetical.
Yeah, but you can't make a fine 5,000.
Yeah, I know. What I'm trying to do is find a way, is there something we can do to deter it? Because most people don't like it. Most
hawking.
citizens don't like
Yeah,
the
hawking
hawking,
doesn't bring anything to the town, I think is what
right?
you're trying to say.
So my question is, I guess what I'm
What-
leading up to, is there something we can do to deter it.
So what we do now, our practice is now is when we come into contact with businesses or individuals that are doing that, is they have an option to come down and fill out the paperwork for the permit. They get kicked out of town from doing that business until the permit's completed. If they don't go down that route, which I think you were there for those 3 individuals I had a nice chat with, and then I saw them less than 24 hours later. Then we use the criminal statutes in the state of Connecticut to further enforce their compliance.
With trespassing and such.
Yeah.
Can you ban it totally?
And the reason I switch over to the criminal statutes is it has more enforcement. So if we issued, let's say, violations, I think $158 state, if any of our ordinances, we can use a state infraction. But if they don't pay those, then there's further repercussions in the criminal court. So you have a failure to pay or plea, and then you have cooperating states, so their licenses could be suspended in other jurisdictions. I mean, it has more value, I think, of enforcing. So we use different tactics in those routes, but,
I was just thinking, while we're talking about this, is there a way to deter it?
Yeah.
You know, because not many people that I know like it.
Yeah.
So,
I have a question. Jeff was talking about not having a fee for the vendors. How would that affect the Poco Fest? Because at the Poco Fest, you have a lot of vendors there, you know, selling stuff. Do they pay a fee now to come there? So if you said no fee, then they wouldn't have to pay a fee to come to the Poco
Well, they have
Fest.
to,
They have a Poco fee.
well, the POCO, they don't have to, this would just apply for the police fee. That's part, you know, we have a fee to be at the POCO Fest for 3 days, you know, to have a space
So they
there.
don't have to get permission from, a permit from the
No,
police?
They do, and then
They
they
do,
have to
okay.
get East Shore Health.
Okay.
So they have to get all of those. So if we said nothing, if we said no fee for a food truck, they just wouldn't have to get the police permit. They still have to pay the POCO fee, and they still have to pay East Shore
Okay.
Health.
I was just curious as to how that
Yeah.
would work. Because that's our biggest vendor operation is the Poco.
And those people all had no problem paying the fee?
All right.
They should have, you're right, you can charge them $1,000, you're right, don't make it. One of them, 2 of them ran out of food this year, that I remember.
And remember, you don't, this ordinance
Rose, how many
doesn't
vendors are
charge, you
usually
don't
at
need
the Poco?
you don't need this permit under this ordinance to be a POCO.
For
POCO's
food,
charging you their own fee.
Okay.
25.
They're not for profit.
25
So
to
this is- You're
30.
gonna make no more money on one way or the other, you're
All
not
right,
gonna lose any money.
just a thought.
Yeah, no, no, no.
600 bucks right there, all the money
POCO
came
will
from
still
that,
charge
right?
the fee, even if we eliminate the fees under this, POCO
Yeah, so they
will
get the
still charge
permit
a fee.
anyways.
That's $6,000.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
your people aren't getting
So
permits.
they're not getting permits from the PD?
That's $6,000 just at the POCO. So obviously the people at the POCO are not getting permits from the town.
They don't need
If-
permits because POCO's are not for profit under your existing ordinance. They don't
Exactly.
have to- They may have to pay POCO a fee to be there. What they do, they pay a fee to be there with their truck selling stuff,
Okay.
but they don't need Jim's permit. What's his permit?
Yeah.
It's his fault.
One last thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, since it looks like we're gonna open this up anyway for edits, can we just kind of walk you through some possible edits on this? It's very simple stuff. You can blame my 48 years in the federal service for looking at this kind of stuff, but here we go. Minor edits. 182E, excuse me, 182-2E says, has one of those his/her references, that's easy to take out. In F, it says, talking about conducting his business, you can just get rid of the word his, cleans that up.
Well, you don't like the his, her, you want to say their
No, I'm just
operations?
saying, there's no need to have that, you can just neutralize it. Like 182-6, the licensee shall conduct himself at all times. You can just say the licensee shall conduct business at all times in an orderly and lawful manner. This language
That's what
would
you're
never
saying.
fly
I see
in
what
federal
you're
service. It's easy to fix though, it's not that big. And one last thing, 182-9 talks about identification cards. It says failure to obtain a certificate of identification is required by this chapter shall result in a warning. A tongue lashing or a written warning, or an email? What kind of warning? A warning. I mean, you can say, don't speed again, I won't. You know what I mean? So what is it? We should say, what is it? An email, a written warning, a tongue lashing, what is it? So those are some simple edits. That's it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So so do you want to go forward with a public hearing, or do you want to clean this up beforehand, before we do the public hearing? Clean it up?
Jim, you thought this was simple, huh?
No, I knew this wasn't. I've been sitting on this for 2 years.
Couldn't wait to bring it out.
So, I
I
mean.
just waited for Bruce to leave.
So,
I think we should clean it up, give the chief an opportunity for us to clean it up, and
Before it goes to public hearing.
and then come back in January, go for the public hearing.
it's not a rush on our part, it's just,
No, you got the cold months coming up anyway, so
Yeah,
you're not gonna be out
that's it.
there anyway.
so, it's, I mean, we have one in place, so it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
So me and Brian can work it around a little bit more, and then we'll come back, and then if you have any other suggestions, feel free to email them over. I'm open to it, and we'll see how we can incorporate it.
Okay,
Anthony, where does that money usually go? What,
General fund.
general fund?
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, do you have anything to do with item F, the speed limit signs on our agenda? Or
That
not?
came from the Connecticut DOT, and that is their approval, and it's addressed to the town manager of just because that's a completed project, they're gonna put up a new sign there. So it's not changing anything there other than them putting up a new sign which meets their new updated DOT standards.
Okay, now I was just trying to see
Yeah.
if you had anything else that we would just move it on the agenda so
Oh,
that
no,
you.
I'm sorry, I thought that was up next, but yeah, that's all that is for.
Yeah, no, it's not, it's further along, and if it was yours, I would just
appreciate that, thank you.
move it up. Okay. Okay, so next item on the agenda is proposed extension of trash collection contract.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This item is one we've been trying to get before the Finance Committee and have not had luck getting it to the Finance Committee. So no action is anticipated tonight, but I just wanted this to get in front of the council so that you're aware of what your options are heading into a period where we will either have to decide whether we're gonna get extensions on our current contract with John's Refuse. And in here in the memorandum, I have the terms laid out here that they have discussed and negotiated with our purchasing department. If we elected to do that, or if you want to go out for an RFP for a new trash vendor. So, you know, we have looked at this. We do recommend to the council going with the extensions because just based on conditions and climate in the collection business, we don't think we're gonna get better than this, but if you wanna investigate that, that would certainly be up to you.
Mike, when you say extensions, do you mean we'll ratify both extensions at once, or just this first one and then have another year? 'Cause I know there's two.
I have it in
There's an
here
extension for 2
to
years.
do both of them, but you certainly could separate it out and do one of the extensions this time. There are two, 2-year renewals that are available to us under the current contract.
So they're saying they'll keep the same price, right?
For,
We would, in the
for
first year
fiscal year.
For the
of
first
the
year.
first term, yes. And then it would increase probably between 3% and 5%. It would be based on the consumer price index
For the second year.
for the second year. And then if we were to take the third and fourth year option, same.
I think we stick with this.
Right, so it includes,
Both.
so this fee includes the 2 bulk pickups?
Correct.
Because I know that was a separate fee.
It was, and as you'll remember, when we did the budget negotiations last time, they gave us a good faith $15,000 reduction in
Correct.
the cost of that, yeah.
Correct.
I'd be comfortable making this motion if the body would be comfortable accepting it.
I would.
I'm gonna make the motion, we'll see what happens. The North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes the town's purchasing agent to extend the current contract with with John's Refuse for solid waste removal and recycling to include fiscal years 2026 through 30. These noted increases, fiscal year 26, 27, $1,494,766,000, FY 27, 28, plus 3 to 5% based on CPI, FY 28/29, plus 3%, 3 to 5% based on CPI, and FY 29/30, plus 3% to 5% based on CPI.
Do I have a second?
I would note too, if I could, I'm sorry, I'll take your second first, please.
Well, I can make a motion if you need me to extend. Would you like me to amend?
I only was gonna note that the 5% is a cap, so there's no danger of it ever exceeding that should CPI, which would be extraordinary, but.
Should I add that to the motion? Not to exceed?
No, it says it in there, it's 3 to 5%, I just wanted to be clear about that to everybody.
We'll review the contract before it gets signed.
Okay.
Yes, let's make sure.
Okay.
And do we have to, because I know there's a lot of CPIs that come out, do we have to specify that it's the May CPI?
It's the May one.
I know it says it up in
Say
the
it in
top.
the agreement, but, throwing that into the motion probably isn't a bad.
All right,
idea.
so I'll amend to the May CPI. Please make that amendment as soon.
Okay, a motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Diamond. Discussion?
Yeah, the package I got just gives an illustration of the 3% over year. I disagree with going from 3 to 5%. I would support just the 3%. I don't support going to 3 and then a possible 5% after that there.
But we don't know what the CPI is going to be.
I don't think you need the CPI.
Well, that's what the terms are. It's the May CPI. They're estimating the May CPI to be between 3 and 5%. 5 is the max.
Okay.
So you can't just say 3 because that's not what their original contract was.
Yeah. You're gonna write like this.
I'm good with going for the 1-year extension. I'm not comfortable with, extending it any further than that.
Taking the two options, just take the first option, the first 2-year option?
Yeah, the one where they're gonna hold the price.
Well, there's 2-year options. So you're saying just take
Yeah.
the
Yes.
first
Yep.
2-year option?
Yeah, and the second year would go by the index, right?
Correct.
Yes,
Just 2 years.
yeah.
Yes.
Have to make an amendment to the motion then.
Well, it was a discussion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is discussion. So
Yes,
that's what I'm comfortable with.
I would agree with that also, is to exercise the first 2-year option.
So only do the first 2 year, not the second. Okay, I will amend my motion to delete the second 2-year slot and just indicate the first 2-year where the price is held. If that's what the body should desire.
I'll second that.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
We still can exercise that in 2 years, correct?
Yeah, you can
Okay, so
revisit
he
that,
doesn't-
and
We're not losing this by not exercising it now.
I don't see why you would.
Nothing's lost on it.
I mean, there's always the possibility that after you've done that, you come down the road in a couple of years and they say they want to change that, or they make a different offer to you for extending it, but.
Even though it's in the current contract?
It's not, this is a proposal for the extension.
Oh, gotcha.
So they
So then we can, it
modify
could
that.
technically get higher.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the original contract that we're in right now, year 5 of the 5-year contract, the first 2 years, if you see this, the first 2 years, they did not charge us for bulky waste pickup. We had the 2 pickups, they did not charge us. They didn't start charging us for bulky waste until year 3 of the contract, on here. And then actually, in this last year, which shows $100,000 for bulky waste, they made a good faith effort and gave us a $15,000 credit, so they brought that down to $85,000 on there of the current contract.
They've done good by us. I mean, I know
Yeah,
personally.
I remember the contract.
They've done good by us. I think,
Perfectly happy with the way the contract was, but I just, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we should only exercise the first
Yeah.
2-year
Same here.
option on it.
That's what it was
Yeah.
amended to, so that's what's on the floor now.
I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Yep.
Yes. Are there any other comments? Discussion?
Are we, I agree with you guys, but then I'm thinking too, could we shoot ourselves in the foot by not locking in that second term? I mean, I know just from my business that the tipping fees are going up quite a bit. So the chances of them going down is probably highly unlikely.
But we still have that. That's not taken off the floor.
No,
If
it
we-
is taken off the floor, because it's a proposal.
This isn't something that's locked into the contract. If you
don't have
accept just the first term, they could you come to like another year or 2 years down the road and you revisit the second renewal, they could make a different offer.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why I went with the two of them now, because you're not getting any cheaper. It's not going cheaper. Lock in all those years and
So my thought is it more fiscally responsible to lock it in now? We have no real gripes on John's. I mean, I haven't heard anybody complain that they're doing a bad
Right.
job or we have any concerns. The other thing too was the other, I guess the other company that, we went against last time didn't have bulk pickup. So I don't know if companies are going away from bulk pickup and stuff too, but right now we have that, we have somebody that we're happy with. Does it make sense, is it more fiscally responsible to lock in that extra 2 years as well? Just throwing it out there.
Because it could very well change, and it's likelihood it's not gonna change in the direction I want it to.
I sway it all the time.
You don't see me moving, do you?
Just
No, yeah, they're all good points. I know, but it's just it's just my opinion.
No,
I have no gripes or anything with the Pizzuto brothers at all.
But knowing now that this is a proposal and it could change, and likely in 2 years when we come back to this, they're gonna come with a higher price. I mean, it's very likely that's the case.
But it's not necessarily true. I mean, they're giving us the two options, so does both of them
Yep.
probably work for them. I'm sure they'll be happy either
Sure.
way. And they have been very fair to us over all the years. And they might, it might work out good, and maybe in 2 years from now, they'll say, hey, we'll give you another year for the same price and do the same deal you just did. It could work out.
Yeah.
I think right now, they're giving us, I mean, that's very fair.
Very fair.
We're not going up at all for the year. And we're, another year, they can go up, 3 to 5%. And, I mean,
I'm really good either way, honestly.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
I think they do a great job, so I'm
Yeah.
supportive of either way.
I personally would feel better just doing the 1-2-year extension and then
It's fine.
talk to them. They've
Yeah.
been very fair to us
Yeah.
and see once and
They're
go
part
from-
of, they are part of our community, so,
Yeah.
I mean.
and they give a lot to our
Yeah,
community.
They do.
On there. So the motion as amended is for fiscal year 26-27 and fiscal year 27-28. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is award of RFP 926020, Land Records Management System. And there is something in our packet in regards to this. So this is the item that the town clerk, Lisa Valenti, spoke to us about at last month in executive session. And since that time, it has been, the bids came in and they've been vetted. And there is a suggested motion in our packet.
I'll make the motion that the North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes the town's purchasing agent to award the contract to Valsoft Systems Incorporated, DBA, quote, Systems from July 1, 2026 to June 30th, 2031 for the town clerk's record management system.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Policio. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. The next item is project authorization letter, award of RFP 926021, commissioning agent Edward Smith Library CXA. This is going to be tabled due to permanent project is still, they do not have a recommendation. They are still meeting on this. So do I have a motion to table?
Motion table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is project authorization letter, project number 0170-3757, speed limit signs on local rural roads in District 3 and 4.
Make a motion that North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to sign the project authorization letter for State DOT Project 0170-3757 for installation of speed limit signs at Robin Lane.
Second?
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Discussion?
Are those electric signs?
No.
So it's just a
The only, it's a lot of it
posted
do
speed
about,
limit?
it's about just regular signs, but under their program that we have the master agreement with them, they're gonna do sign replacements there. And because it, under that agreement, requires the town to agree to maintain them, it's before you, because that's a financial commitment on part of the town. I mean, it's only for a road sign.
So essentially maintain the wind, like mow around them? Danny's gotta deal with it?
No, maintaining the sign, so if it's damaged,
Oh,
that sort of thing.
You have to replace the stop sign.
Right.
gotcha.
The old shotgun on the sign.
So how is that gonna be memorialized? Is somebody gonna say, oh yeah, 5 years from now, oh, that's our responsibility? How are we gonna know that?
It's turned over to us, so we'll have to, it's part of our master municipal agreement, so if something happens to it, it'll be the responsibility of our public works to replace it, take care of it.
But why did they choose to put a sign there? I mean, I live off that road, so I know people are
It's
flying by.
It's based off of their evaluations of road safety in the
Explains
area.
some things.
So, I mean, if you bother to look at the whole thing in there, it's interesting, like, there's towns in there that have like 7 or 8 locations, and we've got one.
Okay, so kind of offer this.
Sign.
Generally, signs are posted and they're marked by the manual and uniform traffic control devices. And I'm sure somebody on the town has a copy of that somewhere, so.
We do.
It's possible that a placement wasn't done properly. The MUTCD, for example, when you get on an interstate highway, you have what's called a confidence sign. When you get on within a quarter mile of getting on the highway, there's a speed limit sign. That's so you know what the limit is and it's fair to you, right? So we do have a copy of the MUTCD somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, I have it in my office, yeah.
Makes for a good read.
So,
doesn't it?
it's terrible. But, but yeah, I mean, to your point, it could be just an issue of visibility. I'm not sure exactly
Right.
what the criteria is they've arrived at for this particular sign, but that's why they do that.
Okay.
Great.
So is this sign on Forest Road?
Yeah, well, it's on the corner of Robin Lane and Forest.
Okay.
But it's very difficult, with the increased traffic flow, that intersection is very difficult to get in and out of, people fly by. Because you come around that curve, and then you have a little straightaway, and then Chief's got some guys that sit up on top of that old telecommunication, that's the only thing that slows people down. Thank God you have them there. People fly, it's hard to get out. But, anyway.
Okay. All right, did we vote on that?
Yeah, no, we didn't vote yet. We
Okay,
just-
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is cybersecurity funding reallocation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you know, the council authorized $15,000 in the fiscal year 25 to 26 capital budget to continue the SCROG cybersecurity project, which was started in the 23-24 fiscal cycle. The SCROG has since completely changed the scope of their project, and so in discussions with Dennis Pannone, who's here tonight to discuss this with you, we would like to shift those funds over to prioritized items that more adequately suit our cybersecurity needs. And so we're not asking for additional funding tonight for anything. We're just asking for the council to approve a change in direction as to the expenditure of those funds to a more appropriately suited cybersecurity plan for the town. Dennis, the one. Okay, sorry.
Hello, Dennis.
Any questions, or pretty much summarize? Can you identify, we're switching funds over to things that more better address our town, like what kind of stuff?
Well, I think the main thing is that SCROG originally put together this 4-phase approach, which we agreed to a few years ago. We did phase 1, which was the discovery. We spent about $6,000, and it was worthwhile. We got a lot of information. Phase 2 was for them to come back and help us analyze it, figure out where the holes were. Phase 3, which was most of the $15,000, was to fill the holes, or at least evaluate it and try things and see if it was worthwhile. They pretty much abandoned the whole direction and threw it all to a third-party vendor that was just looking to make money, I think, and really wasn't focused on anything we did. I had one phone call with the vendor, and they talked about things they wanted us to focus on that didn't come up in our discovery. And about a week or two later, Mike got an invoice from SCROG saying we agreed to it for like $14,000. So at that point, we decided that SCROG didn't really have a good direction. But because we did that discovery, we do know, and we also had an audit from Connecticut National Guard, which we've done several times. And they've come up with several things.
So you'll use that discovery as a blueprint to spend the rest of the money and plug those holes?
Yeah. And, yes.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
So it's not a change in use, it's really just changing who we're gonna pay. We're gonna do it ourselves. We're gonna purchase this software and focus on it. And we are gonna be working with Connecticut National Guard on some things. They offer workshops, free.
Okay, so there is a suggested motion in our packet.
That the North Branford Town Council approves the outline changes in cybersecurity spending as outlined.
Motion was made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any other discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is financial report.
The report you have in front of you compares November of 25 to November of 24, November 30. And the report fortunately remains unremarkable. The tax collection right about on target with last year, 54.7% last year, 54.3%. This year, overall revenue, about 0.5% under. But on the bottom of the page, the expenditures are also about 0.5% to the good. So at this point, the only thing that is still showing as being kind of overspent, as I explained before, is that consolidated cost center department. And that's just a function of shifting the costs from the departments below up to that. And you'll see savings on the corresponding lines below where things previously were charged. And again, we're still working through what lives in that department versus what lives where it previously lived. So in the end, it'll wash out. It's just a matter of how it's illustrated. If I look at like street lighting, for example, if you looked on that one towards about 2/3 of the way down, you'll see that there's the budget is now only $1,000 and we spent $0, but obviously the street lights are still on. So those are things that are living up in that top line now And we're trying just to get the clarification as to what lives up there versus what lives in where it lived for, its prior life. But aside from that, again, the overall expenditure is 46.0% this year, a little bit less than we were last year, 46.3% at this time. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy
I do have a question.
to address them.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Since I'm new to this, and I admit that freely, I have a particular passion on street lighting, as you'll soon find out. But on this one, I want to make sure, what are we actually spending on street lighting? It's certainly not $1,000, you know.
No,
it
I
might appear
could,
that
I
way.
could break it down for you on that consolidated cost center. I'll get the information for you. There are several departments that, or things that were previously in other departments that are now consolidated in there, as the name implies. But we have the ability to break it down by the sub-fund, so I can get it for you.
We're not spending $1,000.
No,
We're spending
certainly
more
not.
than that.
Certainly,
Okay,
certainly.
that's all I need.
So my question is, I'm not sure if it's related to this, as far as the solar panels, electric bills, does that have anything to do with it? How are we making out with those? Because I remember last year we had a big issue
Yeah,
with.
I can get you a new updated for next month's meeting too.
Because
Updated
that
to
would
date.
affect some of the costs for the street lighting, correct?
Yeah,
Well,
the
the streetlights
streetlights
are on
they do
there.
get
Right,
the
that's what I mean.
benefit.
So
The
that's-
streetlights are probably the only one that, quite honestly, that the solar doesn't cover 100%.
Mhm.
The streetlight bills are when we typically pay every month. And what they're using is all the prior solar credits UI has accumulated, and they're using that to pay the bills. We're not putting cash out of our pocket.
Right.
They're using that prior credit.
I know
to
we
pay
had
the
a whole
bills.
big
Yeah,
thing going on. I just want to know where we stand as far as that goes, because we haven't discussed it.
yeah,
in
no, it's
months.
been a while. I'll break that next meeting too.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. That concludes new business. On to citizen statements and petitions.
Bill Savastano, Anthony, I noticed the trash, monthly report there. What is paid so far?
Stand by. That might be one that's blended up above. Let me see. Solid waste disposal, let's see, this is the. Yeah, I got it.
All right, well, my point is that I've noticed before that midway through the year, it's 95% paid, and I don't understand that.
It's 95% between paid.
Well, I mean, I'm throwing numbers around.
Paid and
But it's-
encumbered.
Huh?
It's paid and encumbered on a PO.
So it's not actually paid?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
The budget this year for garbage is $1,604,000. We've spent 617 out the
Okay,
door.
oh, no, well, I didn't understand the way.
Yep.
Yeah, disappointed in how that worked out. I don't know what the rush was. I mean, still had 6 months with the whole idea of,
Well, actually, we have less time than that because we have the budget coming up, so we would have to have a number for the budget, so we would have to have it done by March.
yeah, well, and another point, disappointed Mayor Rose and yourself. I remember last spring, you did say at one of the budget meetings that we gotta do something about bulky waste.
Right, and
And you didn't do nothing.
well, we did ask John's Refuse to give us a price of what listen to me. You asked the question, I'm gonna answer. We asked them what the cost would be to go from 2 bulk waste to 1 bulk waste, and they said that they would keep both bulky waste, and they gave us a $15,000 credit and did not increase the bill or anything. So they gave, in a good faith effort, they gave us $15,000 off the cost that was in the budget for bulky waste on there. Because if we wanted to know what the cost was to reduce our budget, and they said, no, we'll keep them both in there and we'll give you $15,000 off.
I understand, but that was for last year's budget. We're
Right.
talking about going forward now. I was under the impression what you were talking about was next year, meaning next year. So we didn't do nothing there. Now, I end it here. Again, I'm still speaking as a resident. my taxes, right? You had the perfect opportunity. I thought you would, if you won anything, you would be looking to do the 4 years out, like you discussed. But you had the perfect opportunity to push back. You got next year stable. They're gonna give you the same price. You could have taken that, you could have pushed back against the second year of that, and we could have had a stable status quo for 2 years. And then you would be giving them something to think about. Hey, they're pushing back.
But Bill.
So, just let me finish. And going forward. Really, I mean, the whole lot, I just don't understand. Yes, Walt?
Bill, they're giving us this year with no increase whatsoever. So, how- I mean, and then
Walter.
next year, the max is 3 to 5.
When they dropped the bulky waste, he said he gave us 2 years, and then he charged us $300,000 for the next 3 years. That was all over and above the other contract. That was my point.
The other contract didn't quote on budget. They said they would have to come back and give us a number. There was no number in their contract because that's what we pushed back on and said, we need a number on the bulky waste. And they didn't have a number for us for bulky waste.
I don't know
It's
what
not
you-
that they weren't going
I
to
don't know
charge
what
us.
you're saying there. Anyway, thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I could just add one thing, I'm sorry, Cliff, just to be clear. What you were presented tonight was the result of a negotiation. I wouldn't want the characterization of this to be, we ate whatever was thrown at us. The purchasing agent negotiated the results of what you saw there. This wasn't, this was a back and forth that took place. This wasn't just, they handed us this and we passed it on to you. Just want that to be understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about charter revision, but I'm also gonna talk about bulky waste. If we go back to once a year, we'll have bulky waste. It'll be on every roadside, Woodhouse Avenue, over by Newton's Farm. People are gonna throw out their garbage. If we don't keep twice a year, and they've been pretty good about holding on, because we don't have a dump, like other towns, we don't have a transfer station. We have commercial people. So again, I think Andy realized that as well. I mean, we've seen it happen when Chavonis couldn't take junk cars. They appeared in our town until they straightened that out, and that helped. So again, be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. Now, charter revision. I just still feel, because I care about you people, you donate, you get into budget season, you lose a lot of home time. To throw this on top of you will overload your workload. What if you start and nobody volunteers? Finn, I'll give you an example. You were on the council, then you were off. We never saw you in the audience. Does that mean you didn't care? I don't understand. There's nobody from the public ever in the audience. Where are you gonna get these people that are gonna volunteer to work on this charter revision? Where? You can't get people on commissions. You can't get people in the audience. You didn't come back while you weren't on the council. I'm telling you, where are you gonna get these people for this charter revision? And what are you gonna achieve? Nothing but an aggravation for yourself. Things are running pretty good. These people have picked up where you left off and kept going and doing things well. They work hard. The people that complain the most are the least interested, and you're gonna want them to determine your future in the charter? And like the attorney said, what, you're gonna be stuck with some of the stuff they come up with, right? Once you throw it in their lap, everything's fair game, isn't it? When you open the charter for revision?
The mayor wants me to answer.
Okay.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so you might, now they might be way over here in left field where everything's working fine. They don't need to touch that, but they don't know that. They don't pay any attention to town council. So again, I think you're walking on eggs and they're gonna start breaking under your feet. You've got a heavy workload to begin with. And people, when they're upset, I mean, Chicken Gate, when that came up, this place was packed. People will speak up when they're really upset. When the Board of Ed had issues, this place was packed, standing room only. it seems to me there's not that attitude of anger out there right now. And I don't know why you'd want to start shaking the trees. You're going to have a new town manager. You're going to have you got a large project going on. You got the library HVAC coming up. And if you add this on top of your workload, something's going to you might have to come back to 2 meetings a month. And you don't want that. I know you don't, because you give enough time as it is. I really just don't see what you're going to gain. And if I'm entirely wrong, I apologize. But if it's not broke, why even attempt to fix it? Because there's things in town that are broke that need your attention. The HVAC system in the libraries, the schools that are still being not fully signed off, you know, and there's just so much going on that requires your attention and the stuff that comes up, you know. And so I feel for you and your workload, and I just don't see where this will accomplish anything. And if I'm wrong, tell me. I'll be happy. But from what I hear and what I don't see a push. So I don't think you should waste your time and energy and money, because I know this man doesn't work for free. He takes good care of us. But his fees will have to be incorporated into this. And that'll be another budget item that you're gonna have to figure into once you get into budget season, if you're into a charter revision. So, I mean, there's so many things I see that I don't understand how to fix or how to deal with it. But that's just my views as a citizen. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have something to say.
Okay.
In a professional way, I think you stepped over the line by signaling me out, saying that I wasn't here, okay?
No, I'm just trying to say.
No, listen, you talk.
Okay, go
Listen
ahead.
to me, all right? Not knowing what I was going through, or things that I had to do.
Okay.
All right? I just don't think it was courtesy of you to single me out like that there, to say that, by saying I didn't come to the meeting, that I didn't care about the town.
Okay.
If I didn't care about the town, I wouldn't have been run again, okay?
All right.
So I would think in the future, instead of identifying the council person that you don't think that they did something, I think more privately would have been better held than singling me out like that.
I will apologize publicly because I had an issue with Bruce and I stepped out of bounds. And I publicly apologized to him. I'm publicly apologizing to you.
Apology accepted, thank you, Cliff.
And the effort was to show that we can't get people here. But is that bad or is that good? I mean, if they're not mad, were you around for Chicken Gate? Did you hear about that? That was planning and zoning issue, about raising chicken. Oh, it blew up. A guy came in a chicken outfit. So if people are upset, they're gonna come here. So I'm saying, they're not upset. The reval, you guys did nothing wrong, and I think under fire, you handled it well. So I don't know what else you could do. So again, I think this should be a moot item, I don't know what the right word is. You shouldn't think about it. You're gonna have so much hitting you with what's coming up next year. Who knows what's coming up next year? Who knows what the state's gonna do? You're gonna have more thrown at you. Budget time's a disaster for you guys. I mean, so again, but I appreciate that. Because every year we somehow, at the end of the year, we can say we did a pretty good job. And we're a happy town. Like I say, if you were at the tree lighting, you saw what a happy town we are. Other towns can't buy that happiness. We're a blue-collar, happy town, hardworking town council, no party agendas like it used to be. So stick with it and just keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate it. And I just don't know the answers. I guess I'm frustrated with trying to make things better. I think you're doing the best you can. The economy's terrible. The industry's terrible. We can't offer business much because we don't have sewers and highway. So, but what we got, we make work. So I just want to, and I like what I see here. So again,
Thank you.
I just think, I don't know what the answers are. And again, I apologize.
Accepted, no problem, thank you.
Because I
All right,
just want
Cliff.
to, I'd like to see more people here pissed off or something. I don't know.
We're good. Thank you, Cliff.
Thanks. And happy holidays.
Cliff,
Merry Christmas. Can I say that?
You can say Merry Christmas.
Cliff, if you don't mind me saying, and Bill, we definitely appreciate you guys coming here, because you're the only two that do come all the time. I wish more citizens did speak up, and I'm not saying this to be rude, but It's 9 o'clock at night, and
Oh, I know.
to be honest with you, we've all talked and said, we gotta finally say something, we gotta say something. You're allowed 3 minutes.
Okay,
So, 3 minutes and 15 seconds, but
Okay.
because we do wanna go home, I want you guys to speak every time you come.
okay,
But it's 3 minutes,
all right, no
because
problem.
everybody gets their time, and I hope you take that the right way.
All right,
But
no, I
except
do,
I want you to
because-
speak,
but I
but it's
also want,
3
I want
minutes.
to congratulate
But
you
it-
and thank you at the same time when I have a
Yep.
complaint.
I appreciate
I
it.
didn't want that to fall into this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All set?
Is there any other public comment?
Madam Mayor, I have just one comment. It looks like you're probably going to be vacant a town manager prior to your next council meeting. So for banking purposes, signatures and stuff, are you going to have a special meeting to appoint an interim prior to your regular meeting?
Whatever needs to be done, I mean, and that's part of our executive session, is to kind of lay out a groundwork and plan and figure that out. But whatever needs to be done to keep the town running, we will take care of that.
Awesome.
And if I could, while the meeting's still going on, I'd like to thank Mike personally for all your time and everything
Thank
you've
you,
done.
Mike.
You did a great job.
Yes, I would just also like to say thank you, Mike, for all of your work that you have done. I have enjoyed working with you as mayor, and you have brought a lot of things to the town, and we hope that the new town manager will continue those and improve upon them. But I have thoroughly enjoyed working, and best of luck in your new position.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, so next item is executive session, so need a motion.
Motion to go into executive session?
We need to, yep,
As set forth in CSG sections 1-231 and 1-200, subset 6, to discuss corresponding received the town attorney with communication privileged by attorney-client relationship pursuant to the CSG section 1-20B10.
and to include the town manager.
Include the town manager,
assistant
town attorney.
Assistant.
Assistant town manager.
No, we don't
and,
need anything.
Finance.
No, we don't need
No,
finance.
we don't
No, we don't need finance.
We can let him go.
Let him go.